I spent the last week digging through the GoHighLevel Facebook community group so I could identify exactly why your A2P 10DLC campaigns are being rejected and how you can fix those submissions so you can get fully approved on Lead Connector. And a friendly reminder, the Signal House GoHighLevel application is launching in under 30 days. That is right, the countdown to Signal House on GoHighLevel is now under 30 days. This will be live in early May. So all of the work that you're doing right now to make sure that you're approved on Lead Connector is actually transferable to Signal House, because we are going to take your phone numbers and we're going to port them or transfer them seamlessly over to Signal House. We recorded a video about that last week. Check it out if you want to. But the important thing for you to know is that we are going to be digging into the top 3 things: brand email mismatch, website flow being insufficient, and the website domain not matching the brand name. And we're going to show you exactly how you can fix those for LC Phone and how these requirements might even be slightly different for Signal House. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. And so before we get too far ahead, I do want to introduce myself and Signal House, and also just give a brief overview of the 10DLC A2P process. My name is Will Craig. I'm a co-founder of Signal House. We are a messaging provider, as I'm sure you figured out by now, but our specialty is in providing connectivity for CRM systems, but we can power any messaging that is coming from application to person. That's from a software system to a person's handset, and also the inverse. So from a person's handset to a software system. And so you might be asking yourself, how does a business go through the process of being able to send messages via software to a customer? It's a great question. The process is called A2P registration. That's application to person registration. And what we specialize in particular is 10-digit long code. So that's 10DLC A2P registration. And all this means, it sounds very technical and complex, but it just means that Signal House enables businesses to use 10-digit phone numbers. And these are the phone numbers that we all know and use every single day, where the first 3 digits correspond to an area code within the US. We enable you to use those for your business through a process of registering your brand, which is your business information, and a campaign, which is the messaging use case. And so we have some videos on our channel. We actually have an hour-long webinar where we walk through exactly everything that you need to submit and decode everything around brand and campaign. So if you are interested, please do take a look at that. But in general, in this video, we are going to be digging into the specific approval process for GoHighLevel today with Lead Connector, which is powered by Twilio, and why you are getting these rejections. So the first thing that's important for you to understand is that Twilio connection. So Lead Connector is powered by Twilio. So when you review all of these issues, you have to review them through the lens of, this is the Twilio ecosystem. So some of these issues will not happen on Signal House, for example. And one of them that I can call out directly is the website domain not matching the brand name. So that is not a requirement that Signal House has through our upstream providers to the carriers. Our pathway to the carriers does not have that as a requirement. Twilio does, and Twilio is through Lead Connector. And so just a super quick high-level breakdown on Twilio, and then we'll dig into the meat of this video, is that Twilio right now is the strictest in the industry when it comes to A2P registration. And the reason that they are is because they are going through the process of obtaining a carrier connection, a direct carrier connection. And these direct carrier connections are like gold for these companies because of the margins that they actually offer. So the important thing to know, though, is that during these review processes, there's a really strict and in-depth due diligence review to determine if you're even able to obtain a direct carrier connection. And any kind of bad traffic, any kind of bad actors that are on your platform and that send traffic during that time can torpedo the entire deal. And so obviously GoHighLevel users are not bad actors. They are good actors trying to communicate to their customers and enable their customers to communicate to their customers. But Twilio right now, the aperture of what they're letting into their company is very, very small. And so they have incredibly strict reviews on campaign review. And that's why you're seeing such bad delays. They also have a multi-step review process. So they have a process that first happens at Twilio. Then it happens at the first Direct Connect aggregator, which is the upstream company that actually reviews the campaigns and approves them to the carriers. There's only 4 direct connect aggregators or DCAs in the US. And again, these are the gateway companies that connect a messaging provider to the carriers. And so Signal House, we are connected to 3 out of the 4. So we have redundancy to the DCAs. Now, I can't specifically comment on how many Twilio has connections made, but I can say that their primary one that they send traffic through also sends it through an additional party for T-Mobile. So there's a review process that happens at Twilio, a review process at this first DCA, and a review process at the second DCA. So that's Twilio, and then a company called Cineverse, and then a company called Infobip. So that's going to be the full sort of review process that everything has to go through before it's live and connected to the carrier networks. Now at Signal House, we have at most one hop that happens between our company and the carriers. So it's less reviews. It's also less room for technical issues, less room for human error, because all campaigns are reviewed by a human being at each of the DCAs. So you can start to see why you're getting rejections and why it's a little bit complex and it's a little bit gray as to what specifically you need to do. And it's because you might get information from Twilio, you might fix it, you might be good to go for Twilio, but now you have issues with the Cineverse and so on and so forth. Let's now jump into the top 3 issues that people are having on Lead Connector getting approved through Twilio today. So the first one is going to be brand email mismatch. And so essentially what this means is that the domain that you're using for the brand email, so the support email that you submit, does not match the company's brand name or the website domain. So saying this a different way in plain English, let's say that the company that I am submitting for is ABC Trucking. So this is a trucking company. It's called ABC Trucking. So I would expect that support email to be support@abctrucking.com. That would be my assumption. But if it is support@gmail.com or trucking@ABC Inc. or something like that as the actual support email, they're going to see that. They're going to see that it conflicts and they may reject that. And so that is just something that you obviously should be aware of. Now, one problem with Lead Connector that I think is one of the craziest things that will not be like this on Signal House is that if your brand gets approved, you're actually unable to see the brand email that was submitted. So this makes it really difficult for you to A, know what was submitted and be able to identify if this is a valid rejection, and B, actually update the email. But from what I've seen in the Facebook group, if you do reach out to GoHighLevel support, they are able to provide you with a screenshot of what was submitted. So you'll know it's submitted, and theoretically, you can ask them to update it as well. Now, I can tell you on Signal House, you're going to have that full visibility to the email that was submitted. We are also going to have tooltips that tell you, hey, make sure that this brand email matches and everything else, so you have that clarity. That is a requirement. But what you should be able to do is have that visibility and be able to see that. Now, there are some cases where if you have, let's do the ABC Trucking example again, if you have abctrucking@gmail.com, there are some situations where that can still get approved. But in general, I would make sure that it matches. The next one is message flow being insufficient. So the message flow is your actual campaign submission. You have in Lead Connector, it's called how do people opt into this messaging? But in general, it's the call to action or the message flow. And the goal of this really is to walk a reviewer through the exact process that an end user is going to see when they are signing up for your messaging, when they're opting in. And so you need to walk them through. They go to this website, they click on this contact us link, they scroll to the bottom where they see a form where they can fill out information. They're asked for these fields and they have these buttons that they can select to opt in. And here's actually the text that it says. And so that's the thing that I think is not super obvious, is that they want that full flow to be typed out there. And the longer it is, the better. The message flow that we submit for every campaign, and again, on the Signal House GoHighLevel application, you're not going to need to submit campaigns yourself. So we're going to generate that campaign for you. We're going to have you click a box that says that it looks good to you, and then we're going to submit it. So we're going to auto-generate your campaigns from the submission info that you put in the brand information and the type of campaign use case. That helps us generate the sample messages and all that good stuff. So anyway, when you are looking at crafting the perfect message flow and the one that we use, it really is walking through, we're going to this website, we're clicking this link, we're pasting in exactly what the bubbles say. We're also adding in information that messaging is only by the brand name and not any other brands that are mentioned on the website. All of these things are good things to include within your CTA, and just making sure that whatever is on your website, whatever they're clicking, you have copied and you pasted that into the message flow that you actually see on your campaign submission. And another thing to point out here is that if there are multiple locations, so let's say I have multiple campaigns for ABC Trucking, but it's because it's a franchise of some kind, then you would want to put in the location. So this is the Denver, Colorado, or this is the Columbus, Ohio location. You'd want to put that into the campaign description. And so that can help you as well for some other types of rejections there also. And then the final issue is one that I really want to touch on, and that is the website domain does not match. And so what that means is that, for example, you submitted ABC Trucking, but you submitted a form that is your agency name and then a domain at the end that says like a subdomain that is ABC Trucking of your primary domain on Lead Connector. Now, this is something that Twilio is rejecting submissions for. And I want to be very clear. Twilio is rejecting submissions for this. Signal House, with our pathway to the carriers, this is not a requirement for us. And this is why it's so important that when the Signal House app goes live, you check us out as quickly as possible, because we can get you fully verified in under 48 hours because of these pathways to the carriers that we uniquely have. And so in the relationships that we have and the way that we build those relationships and build that trust with our upstream providers. And so this is not a requirement for us. We're actually going to generate a landing page for your sub accounts if they do not have a compliant website that they're able to use for this. Now, the way that this works is that you fill out certain information in your brand, and we will, during the campaign flow, ask if you would like us to generate a compliant 10DLC landing page for you. This will be on our domain. It'll have your name in there, and you'll be able to put in your logo, the company name, a description about your company, and you'll also have your use cases automatically populating as CTAs. And we have a webhook for you to be able to connect this to your GoHighLevel account, so all of your leads can go directly into your account. You're able to message them, because at the end of the day, what the campaign registry, what the carriers and everyone else is concerned with is that your customers are opting into receiving your messaging, and they're understanding the type of messaging that they are receiving. And so it doesn't have to be on your domain for them to know that they're receiving messaging from you. It just has to be very clear that they are receiving messaging from you, what you do, and that whatever link you are providing them is the link that is registered for that messaging campaign. And that's really all the requirements are. And so we are just giving you the ability to submit this as your default domain or default website that you are using for this messaging campaign. And that is totally okay with Signal House and with our upstream partners. So I really do hope that this video was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We are providing content 5 days a week, 3 days a week as we lead up to the GoHighLevel launch. Will be exclusive for GoHighLevel. As we continue down this pathway and we get more and more built on the platform, our goal is to show you wireframes, show you screenshots, show you behind the scenes looks of what our platform has to offer. And if you would like to join a wait list to be one of the first people on GoHighLevel, we will need testers. So we will need people testing before we go live in 30 days. Please check out the blog post that's on this YouTube link in the description. It's going to show you how you can get on the wait list to be a part of our beta testing also. So anyway, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, and we will see you in the next one.